Hello, hi. Thank you for tuning into my channel. I come back in with my second episode in the series that taking jumpstarting your journey to the AWS cloud. In this session, I am going to be joined by Mani. Mani has been part of AWS for over 4 years now, and he is being a solution architect with AWS for all these 4 years. And uh, he has now moved to a specialist team for containers as well. And today we're going to talk with Mani about the solution architect role in general, what it takes to become a solution architect. And he has done a lot of certifications. So we will also ask him a lot about his secret sauce, about tips and tricks about how he does certifications and something we can benefit from. And please do check out the description below because I add a lot of links there, and I also make it easy for you to skip certain sections if they don't make sense to you. And please spread the video around. I'm hoping this helps a lot of you answer a lot of questions pertaining to the role, pertaining to how do you do your certifications, etc. And if you have more questions, please do add them into the in the comment section below, or you can also reach out to me via LinkedIn and Twitter. That's mentioned on my link. Profiles are mentioned in the description. And please do subscribe to the channel. It helps me, and your kind words. All of you have been sending a lot of kind words. Please do keep doing that. It motivates me a lot to do more. And if you have more questions, happy to hear your questions, maybe answer them one to one or make a video out of it. So thank you for this, and let's get started. Thank Hey, thanks, Mani, for joining us for this session. It's really pleasure to have you on call. Uh, let's start with a quick introduction about you, who's Mani, and let's begin.
Sure. Thanks, Rohini. Thanks for inviting me to your show. I think this is an awesome show. It gives you a human element to Amazon and AWS, right? The people who work there and things like that. So, my name is Mani. I'm a principal solution architect with AWS, and currently I'm based in Bangalore. And I've been working in the IT industry for almost now 25 plus years, a long time in this
Oh,
industry. And
that
yeah,
is
I
a
mean,
long time.
so I mean, work predominantly in Indian market, but with I think with the exception of around 6 years when I was in the United States, working for a few companies like dot coms, dot bombs, and stuff like that. So right here I am back in Bangalore.
And how long have you been with Amazon?
So I joined Amazon in September 2016. So I'll be completing 4 years this September.
Wow. 4 years, my goodness. I still remember that we used to be in a previous company, and me based in Mumbai, you based in Bangalore,
Yeah, that's
and
true.
you came and joined Amazon. I was like, I know someone of this name. Is it that same person? And then that was quite interesting. It's already been 4 years for you.
Yeah, yeah.
That is congratulations for that.
Thank
So
you.
so you're a solutions architect, right?
Mhm.
At AWS or Amazon India. And what does a typical day look like for you? Like, what does a day look like in a solution architect's life?
Sure. I think you've also been there. So let me, I think, kind of give you a bit of a day in the life of a solution architect. I think the key thing here with solution architects is, I guess, flexibility and the wide variety or canvas that we work in, right? So given the number of AWS services which only keeps increasing, right? So I mean, so typically, solution architects, as we work across different segments, and typically a solution architect works with a defined set of customers, right? In typically, I think in a specified geography. So in my case, I work in Bangalore, so predominantly work with customers based in enterprise customers based in Bangalore. And essentially, as solution architects, we get a variety of customers, right? So they are in different stages of their cloud adoption life cycle. I mean, pretty much when I joined, Amazon and AWS, some of them were just fairly new into the cloud journey, but I don't think we get that anymore. So most of them have used are using public cloud to some extent. So typically, so what I get a flavor is, I have some traditional deep dive engagements with customers. And so essentially I will help them with their design and architecture and other things. And at the same time,
Mhm.
they are sometimes, they're also interested in getting to know more about newer AWS services, right? So, and so I'll them get used to that. So so when I say flexibility, that means I would start off my day with containers and end with outposts or workspaces, right? So
Yes. The
so
whole
it's like
whole wide range.
whole gamut of things.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's, and
Great.
apart from that, of course, I mean, we are also part of all these special interest groups, or TFCs, what we call as in AWS, right? So I'm part of a containers TFC, which is close to my heart. So I also do a lot of stuff other than my set of defined customer work.
Nice, nice. And so that is about a solution architect role at AWS, right? So when I meet a lot of these people in the community, or people reach out to me via LinkedIn or Facebook, or even family reach out to me, and they are like, what does it take to become a solution architect? Because there's a lot of people who want to become a solution architect, but they just don't know, or some of them have fair a bit of an idea, and they think, I mean, just not to demean anyone, but some I've met a couple of people who are hardly in the industry for a year, and they want to become a solution architect, but then they have no vision about how do I reach that point, or how do I become a solution architect in future. And it may or may not be an AWS answer, because you have been here, but I'm sure you've done this work in the past as well. So anything you could say about, what are the typical skills a person needs to become a solution architect, or how they can think about, like internally, anything you can talk around that.
Sure, I think that's a great question, right? So, I mean, typically, when I mean, there's no, I guess, set defined answer. There's no like, of course, there are, different levels of senior solution architect, but I mean, typically, I mean, if you were to look at my own career trajectory, I did, I mean, work in like an ODC kind of a thing, with a company like Honeywell. I mean, so basically, I would say that rather than, becoming a solution architect as a first point in your career, build up, some kind of a base, right? It could be in just projects, or it could be in product engineering, or it could be in testing. I mean, whatever it is,
Okay.
right? So you get that, that confidence, stuff that you are talking as a solution architect, you've done it sometime in the past, right? So I mean, definitely say that, as solution architects, even though we have now roles like associate solution architects, but even for those roles as the entry level kind of solution architect roles, we would still need people to, do this kind of I would say, a prep work, or some kind of a base, right? So that
Right.
you get a variety. I mean, you do see a kind of a uh, you have this body of work, I would say. That would be the right word, before you become a solution
Right.
architect, right? So I think you need to build on that base. It's not that you come out of school or college and then become a solution architect right away. That's, I mean, my opinion, personal opinion. But I mean, that's
Agree.
why I think I feel that that's a good, generally, if you look at solution architects in AWS, we see that's typically what the profile is, right?
Right. And what about soft skills? From a soft skill side, do you think there is something that people, I mean, obviously there is always to learn on the job, but then there are a few soft skills that I think solution architects should have. Maybe do you have any tips on that, or any guidance on that?
Sure. I mean, as kind of slightly older person compared to young folks like you. Is,
Come
uh,
on.
I can tend to give slightly older stories, but I would say, I mean, the key skills are, I would say, knowing that, whether it's with AWS or other companies. um, I would say, you should. I mean, it's usually it takes. I mean, you should understand that there is a big set of people and ecosystem that's behind you. So the first thing is, I would say the soft skill is being flexible. I mean, anytime you kind of say that, I'm going to only do certain things. I'm a database person. I'm going to only do DevOps. So solution architect by nature, I mean, the generic role is cuts across multiple things, right? So as I said, my background, even though it was application development, now I do a lot of things around infra, DevOps, databases, whatever it is, right? So flexibility is one aspect. Communication skill is again very important, right? So how do you break a complex thing and work from the likes of a developer who is fresh out of college at your customer to the CIO kind of a thing, who doesn't probably have the patience to know everything, right? They just need it in a kind of a TLDR kind of a thing, right? A brief thing.
Yeah,
So communication skills, flexibility, being able to handle criticism, tough situations, right? So those are important aspects, I think, in terms of the um, there are a lot of Amazon leadership principles, then I mean, so I think which will help you prep for that, not having a thick skin. Sometimes it could be tough situations. I've been in things like red alerts and stuff like that, where customers really want to, us to fix things, right? So I think these are the important things, I think, important aspects to it. But at the same time, end of the day, when you see the effect of your work, impact of your work, when customers run things, I think it kind of alleviates a lot of these things that I'm talking about, right? So you see that, and you see, wow, I was involved in that in some aspect, right? So yeah, these are, I think, critical soft skills, I would say, help solution architects to succeed.
definitely. I mean, I did mention this previously as well that, having that T is important. Like you could be in depth with application development or databases or something. Like you are now a container specialist for us, right? So you could have that depth in something, but you also should have that breadth around different technologies and understand different technologies. Like not everyone knows everything. Like technologies keep evolving. So you have that. I think that learn and be curious leadership principle, I think that definitely applies there. And I completely agree with communication skills because and I just wanted to add, because when I came from a support background, right, I used to be in support for AWS. And the thing that I said to my managers is the reason I want to go to a solution architect role rather than some other role is because I wanted to learn how businesses work, or because I had a bit of understanding how applications work, but now I wanted to understand the other side as well, not just the tech side. Because as a solution architect, you do consultation, right? And you do consultation to um, developers, say like you mentioned, the CXO, and you need to know how to talk this language and how do you talk with different personas. I remember my first mentor, like in the sales. Okay, so he was a sales rep, and I was just following him. I mean, you know how the shadowing works, right? Initially, so I was just shadowing him in meetings, and in one day he had a meeting, took me to a meeting with a developer, and the other meeting was with a CTO. The conversations, that the variation of that conversation from a developer to CTO just blew my mind off. I was like,
Right.
okay, this is different, right? You can't just talk the same language to two different personas. You have to understand what they want and then work backwards. I think you put it very well from that perspective.
Yep, absolutely. I think this, I mean, is a very unique role in the sense that you get to see a wide variety of folks, right? And
Right.
different. I mean, the T you're talking about, it can span, from core services to very specialized services, right? So,
Definitely. Definitely. So you did touch base upon one of my questions is, like AWS releases so many new services and features every year, and you said that, it's fun, you have that flexibility, but then how do you keep yourself updated? I've asked this question previously as well, and it's interesting. I want to know different ways of how people learn different technologies so that, anyone who's watching this video will also be able to have their own opinion of how they are going to be able to keep up with the pace.
Sure. I mean, so there's no right answer, but I think the key thing here is now that we have social media. I mean, early on, it was all a lot of things around searching on the internet and stuff like that, right?
Mm.
But now I think at least with AWS, I mean the good thing is every day when you get up, wake up in the morning, the first thing you probably do is check this AWS what's new kind of a page, right? So you should probably bookmark it. And that's, I think,
Yeah.
one important aspect of it if you're into the AWS world. And I think that's what I do. And second is I follow a whole lot of very brilliant people, folks from engineering, other solution architects on Twitter, on LinkedIn, and things like that, right? So I mean, not just AWS, right? So I mean, AWS is only one part of it, right? So there's so much
Exactly.
install base of experts outside Amazon and AWS. I mean, it's important. I mean, I think the Twitter does a good job of proposing or telling people you might want to follow them. I mean, so basically social media and this AWS thing is very important, but after some
Mm.
time you need to kind of focus a bit also, right? So because there's so much out there, I mean, you should not become overwhelmed. So I mean, so have a few things, right? I mean, I mean, one is of course the generic kind of news, and then the other one is what you are interested in, right? So a mix of these two kind of helps you be more focused. Otherwise, I mean, like tons. I mean, AWS, the pace of innovation, what we call it in AWS, right? It's so high. It's like you. I mean, so this is, I mean, a combination of these things, right? Some you do every day, and some maybe you park a few hours in the weekend to kind of catch up on this, and then I think that's pretty much what you can do, right? I mean, um, you can keep up, with how do you keep pace of this. And of course for
Right.
myself, in post that, if I do find something interesting, I do experiment with stuff, right? So ultimately I mean, my persona is that I don't get supreme, I'm like 100% confident if I don't do hands-on stuff. So I mean, I not a very big into theory and stuff like that, so I've never been very good either in academics on theoretical subjects. So I do practice it, and then immediately I post it as like a medium blog or on Twitter. So it's important. I mean, one thing that one last bit of information is which I kind of follow in my life is I mean, it's not just important to consume stuff, you should also kind of share it, right? So it's a very open culture in Amazon and AWS. We don't hoard information, we tend to share it. So I also just keep posting it, even if there's like nobody out there who's reading it. It's for myself. I'm sure if somebody searches for it, they'll find it useful. Yeah, that's
Yes, don't worry. We are just going to put everything in the description below, your LinkedIn, your Twitter, and your blog as well. I remember the one you had created on Kendra. I think it was on Kendra that you did recently. That was an
yeah.
amazing use case, and everyone, almost all of the parents at home during this lockdown appreciated that, right? So uh, they are fun projects that you pick up, and you have a different twist towards these services, which is fun. I enjoy reading it. So let's
Thank
see
you.
how many followers we get now. But thanks for answering that. Now, now coming to a question that I've been waiting for is, how many certifications do you have?
So Yeah, certifications in AWS are also increasing day. I mean, the period of time. So, I mean, I have around 12 active certifications, right? I mean, the
Say.
only thing, I mean, that is kind of, changing is, there's a new certification. The 13th one has got released, and I mean, primarily around big data, and so I have to update my thing. But for now, I know I have like 12 certifications, active certifications. As certifications tend to kind of expire after some time, and I have around 12 certifications.
Oh, 12 certifications. That's a lot of certifications that you've done. So you've done majority of the except the new one. I think the specialty certifications also. So I've done a bit. I keep getting a lot of questions around certifications. Obviously, I'm not going to bore you with a lot of certification questions. But then, um, just wanted to pick your brain. I know I've asked this question to you over lunch as well. Like, what is your secret sauce? How do you do so many certifications? Because I know as a solution architect and as a specialist, you have a lot of work to even deal with every day, right? I mean, our calendars are always full. We have a lot of work, be it working with customers or internal staff or hiring. How do you get around with certifications? How do you prepare for your certifications? That is something that everyone, at least I am interested in.
So, I mean, see, one thing is I use the certifications sometimes to fast track my learning of certain things, right? I mean, that's one area. So it's like, I wouldn't
Okay.
say, don't be too fixated on the number or, how many, but I would definitely use that as a kind of a, to fast track your certifications. And so for me, I think there are, I mean, a few avenues that I use to learn stuff, right? I mean, one is, of course, I think, as you know, the certifications follow a defined set of pattern, right? So there is a secret code. I mean, it's like there's a weightage to each segment. So sometimes you tend to focus on, you have to go through the objectives of the exam, and sometimes it's like, for example, in machine learning, I was not too, confident on some of the algo related stuff, whereas I thought my strengths were in the other areas around data preparation, data cleansing, and stuff like that, right? So I mean, so you kind of hedge your bet sometimes on certifications. You kind of focus. I mean, I mean,
No, that
that is one area. And second is, I think the key aspect is you need to go through some of the service FAQs. They kind of tend to kind of give a super short description of most of the things, right? I think there's no, I would say, I don't think there's, I mean, you cannot escape that. You got to go through the FAQs of the services of whatever is a, if it's like a database specialty, you got to go through the RDS thing, right? I mean, you got to
yeah.
go through DynamoDB, right? So those, so two things that I covered, right? I mean, one is a focus on the weightages. Second is on the FAQs. The third part of it is now we have this free online exam prep,
Yeah.
things that I would say that go. They are like probably not the only thing, but at least you can, they're all free in our website. The exam prep workshops, and I think last but not the least, there are lots of, I think, videos out there, probably like Reinvent and things like that, which would help you in the some of the scenario based questions, right? So I mean, I don't have too much patience. Sometimes I watch these videos at 1.5 and 2x speeds, right? So I
Yeah.
can't really, I mean, I won't advise it, so don't take it to the heart. If you have time, you go through the whole hour, but in my case, I go at 2x speed and watch them, right? So this, and of course there are a lot of other AWS partners who have awesome trainings, and things like that, right? And labs that you could do. I think these are a few things, aspects to it. Of course, the specialty and the professional are a bit tougher, right? So compared to the associate and other exams. So I think I would say that these are the key things here. um, for you to focus now, I mean, to get yourself certified. And of course, AWS also has these I think mock exams that you could do it. I mean, that's also, you
Yeah.
could get a kind of a flavor about the questions and whether you're really up to speed. But those are paid. You need to pay for them. But I would say that the other aspects, as I said, most of the other things what I mentioned should definitely help you get through these certifications, right? I mean, it's not like
Right.
it's just kind of knowing what to look out for, and of
How to
course,
do.
yeah. So I
So,
hope this helps, Rohini.
yeah, actually it does. I mean, you've given some prescriptive guidance to put it in those words, but so so let me ask you a question. I think you answered there a bit, but
Mhm.
um, did preparing for certifications help you with getting more knowledge, or you already had some AWS knowledge because you're working with a lot of customers, you're reading about it, you are interested in that technology, and that's why it helped you prepare for certifications. The reason I'm asking this is I get a lot of questions from people saying, and this is not pointing at anyone. I mean, if you're good at certifications, go ahead and do it. I'm not done a lot certification since I think last year. So, but there are people who are, just doing a lot of certifications without a lot of hands-on experience, just to show it on the CV and get an entry point. It's good if you're doing that, but then what I believe it is not going to stick with you a long term. Like you're not going to learn a lot if you're not doing it for the knowledge reasons, right? So um just wanted to pick your brain off about going through certifications. Has it helped you get AWS knowledge, or was it vice versa?
Right. I think it's a good question, right? So I mean, so I did not. So I did the certifications only after I've done a good amount of work, hands-on, and practiced it, right? So it's not like I went through the course and the certification and then I learned it backwards. No, that is not going to
Right.
work, right? So because I think
Yeah.
you also probably do, and me, I also. I mean, we do a lot of interviews with candidates, right? So, and then I mean, so what happens is, when you have a certification and I ask you some basic question and you don't know it, right? Then it kind of, I mean, for example, right? Let's assume that you have done a solution architect professional exam, right? And then
Okay.
we ask in the interview, how does a multi-AZ in a RDS work, right? And then you are kind of stumped, right? So it's like certification is not going to help you. I mean, it might have helped you to check a box saying that if you want to have a highly available environment across multiple AZs, you go for RDS multi-AZ architecture. But then, not knowing the real scenario, how you would do it, I mean, it's not. So I would say that you got. I mean, there's no escape from real world practice and doing stuff. The certification only, I think, to me it has helped me in cases, as you said, in that last bit, right? And one that is one area, I mean, in terms of probably it might have helped you to, when a recruiter was filtering the resumes, I mean, this would have definitely caught the eye
Yeah.
of the hiring manager and things like that. But then after that, it's
Yeah.
all up to you, right? It's like you need to know the stuff. So
Yeah.
that, and of course the second part is it's a validation of what you know, right? It's like, so these are the two aspects. I mean, like, it's like going to help you to some extent, but the vast majority is still, there's no I would say, uh, not it's I mean, you should still do a lot of, I mean, the real work, right? So it's not a substitute for that aspect of it.
Definitely. I mean, completely agree with you. Like it shouldn't just be that you did a certification. Now you got foot in the door, okay, you got an interview, but then what next, right? I mean,
Right.
interviewers also know that this is happening in the market a lot, so you should have. A tip I gave in my last episode was so the reason I'm saying is because what happens from the community is people are starting with cloud. Uh, they obviously, it's a chicken and egg thing, right? They don't have any cloud projects, so they cannot get started with cloud. And if they cannot get started with cloud, how do they get into projects, right? Because people expect experience, like some kind of cloud experience. So it's like a chicken and egg thing, like how do I just get into this, right? The answer I gave was that, do your certifications, okay, learn, because it will help you have a goal and you learn towards that goal, right? So take it as a goal. Create your own projects, like you mentioned, right? You write blogs, or people write blogs or videos, or GitHub page, just content create karo, whatever, any medium that suits you. Publish it online so that you have something to show for, like a project to show for when you go for interviews, like, this is a project that I've done, this is maybe my side project, something I'm interested in. And if you can show dive deep in that sense, right?
Mm.
Do you have any other guidance for people, like, because I know you're doing a lot of interview, right? So do you have any other guidance for anyone who just wants to get started with AWS in general?
So I mean, these are important things, and of course, now if you are, I mean, I would say, not just certifications. I would say, I think the GitHub thing that you spoke about is very important. So it also talks a lot about your body of work, right? So it actually shows, because AWS and DevOps and automation and things like that definitely help you. So I mean, whatever stuff. I mean, it can be a toy project, that you're just getting started. I would say, if you post it, I mean, put a kind of a thing. I mean, not just forking projects, right? So I'm talking about real
Yeah,
stuff
exactly.
that you actually build, right? I think I think that would definitely help you with, getting a bit of a leg up, right?
Yeah, yeah. A bit of creativity is needed, not just like, go ahead, pick up someone else's GitHub project and, oh, I
I
implemented
mean,
this and make
see, when
interview that.
when you have architects, right? I mean, when you have architects, or those people, they carry a portfolio, right? I mean, that's their body of work, right? So I mean, that's they I mean, this is, I mean, similarly, GitHub is your body of work. You can show it, stuff that you've done it, right? And of course, I mean, the caveat is, don't post your proprietary stuff there, and of course, never ever post your access key and secret key of AWS. bad,
Yes.
bad things can happen there.
Very bad things can happen. Oh my goodness. I've had customers initially who have done that, and it's bad. Yeah, so definitely, I mean, they should take care of security. I always add a lot of links about free tier and how do they get started, or anything on AWS samples on GitHub. Like, if you just want to get started, just play around things. Use the free tier to do that. So I do add those details. So if anyone's interested, just go ahead and read that there. Any other thing you can think of, like, because I'm doing this series for these frequently asked questions that I keep getting around, a lot of things around training, certifications. And I mean, I was solution architect, I used to get a lot of questions around, the questions I asked you. uh, so anything else you think you want to say to the community, the forum's yours.
No, I mean, so I think you've spoken to the, I mean, personal training team. I'm now a solution architect. Probably, I think in the lines of things, you could probably then talk to a few more like a specialist kind of a thing, and then you have other folks, within, the technology side of things, like your technical account managers, support engineers, those. I think that would
Yeah.
definitely give a full kind of a view into the folks that work here. I think, as I said, we are hiring, and I mean, so a lot of, I mean, it's just that, I mean, be prepared. If you don't succeed the first time, I think you will eventually do that. A lot of people, I mean, I applied multiple times before I kind of finally got in here, right? So it's just that you need to, I mean, every company has got their own kind of way of hiring, and so it's, I mean, that's what it is, right? And of course, that thing I told you about, sharing information, creating this body of work, and the soft skills are very important, because especially for solution architect kind of a role, it's not just the technical skills. You're not just going to be sitting behind a desk and talking to customers, right? You're going to be out there in front and facing, the customers in flesh and blood. Maybe not now in
Right.
the lockdown, but when it opens, he's going to be there out there, right?
Hope
So,
not. Yeah, definitely. I mean, even if it's not AWS, like last time I did that session, right? People asked like, can I do any volunteer work? Can I do anything like you may not be able to join AWS, or it's not necessarily to have AWS knowledge just to join AWS. There are so many of our customers who are looking for good candidates who have a lot of AWS knowledge.
yep.
I work with a lot of community people, like community heroes, who do a lot of stuff on AWS, right? And it could be something that their company has been doing, or it could be something they follow passionately. I mean, a lot of them are passionate about the technology itself. So
Hmm.
definitely, I mean, knowledge doesn't go waste, I feel. So I agree with you. Like, just keep trying, keep learning. And there are, something I said before, I think it's that there are a lot of roles in the market today, I think, than previously. Pehle, we used to say, Acha, you're a developer, so you'll only do development, or you're an ops person, you will do only ops, right? Now you have like DevOps, you have ops in machine learning, or you have DevOps in machine learning. You have data engineers, you have people who actually work on pipelines. Like, there is so much to do everywhere, right? Even security, which is a vast topic, could also have a certain focus on, okay, I'll just focus on application security, or I'll focus on security with containers. I don't know, I'm just giving responses, but there's a lot for everyone to do. And I think if you are able to pick up some part of it, and build on that to show your expertise, but still have a bit of general knowledge around everything else, I think that is something will help people go long way.
Correct. I think, I mean, as you said, there are engineering roles, there are solution architect roles, there's professional services
Lot.
roles, support roles. I mean, you name it, right? So
Exactly.
it's like,
Yeah.
I mean, you need not be with AWS. There are lots of customers. I mean, so many big customers using AWS. So
Yeah.
I think there's a recent study which said that uh, I mean, AWS skills are very highly sought after, right? So it's not going to go waste. Definitely not going to go waste. So it's like it's I think it's definitely will make you into a better architect, engineer, whatever that you're doing, right? So
Definitely, definitely. Agree completely. Thank you for doing this. I think we tried to keep it under 30 minutes, so we are almost there. So this was amazing. Thank you for doing this for us, Mani. And definitely, I'll add links. So I hope you get more followers on your blog. And thank you for doing this for everyone, like writing those blogs. I'm sure we all are reading. And thank you.
thanks, Rohini. I think this is an amazing work that you have started. I think I wish you continued success and more popularity on your channel. I think this is a very laudable laudable effort, and I think much needed. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
I'm just
Bye.